I was able to get some coffee. I needed some coffee. All right, so it's an enhanced day. We've got a lot of tweaking to do.
One of the things that I liked and didn't like, and I think was working but really wasn't working, is the city. The first thing I want to fix is the city. The city shot in this one, I don't know. There's just pieces of it that need to be tweaked and fixed, and I probably should have done it slightly differently. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of redo one. I'm going to take this one out and close it down. Because if you fix one side, then you fix both sides, right? If you're flipping it, you might as well do it once and forget about it. Rotate. And I think what I'm going to do is path it, because I think I will get a cleaner edge instead of the mask that I did before.
I really liked the way the points of the city, or the points that I created of that building, started to kind of make a flower petal style. At first I was thinking about the tall straight buildings as being the flower petal, or at least some spikes. I really ended up liking the points of the city, and when you create something and you crop it perfectly, you can then distort it and find those lines and edges and just distort it so that it fits the circle properly. I liked the way that this city was flowing inside the mandala, but I wasn't really liking the gray colors of the buildings. So I went through and I found some images from the last shoot, and I wanted to match the perspective of that graffiti and those colors with the buildings somewhat. So I had some planes going back into the image, and then I took another background plate and positioned that on the buildings that were flat so that we get a little bit of depth in those buildings. And then I set it to like an overlay. And now, boom, it just works so much better. It works overall with the graffiti so much nicer. My thinking usually goes that I am looking for and revealing pieces of the puzzle as I'm putting it together. So I'm constantly scrubbing in and out of the different layers to reveal certain things that might work within the composition. I want things to flow. I want things to overlay and overlap that didn't originally overlap. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for things to look like they are working cohesively as a single piece. But I also don't want to cover up any important or interesting parts of the image at any given time. Part of creating anything is the discovery of how things work together and making things work together, forcing them together or finding their harmony together. Things can definitely get a bit confusing when you're working on so many layers in such a fast pace. So you always have to be mindful of where things are in the layout. I really try to not have any super blurry edges or super sharp edges to where one image meets the other. I want things to feel like they were meant to be there, but sometimes you just are discovering and seeing where things are. Here I wanted the buildings I felt were just becoming way too heavy, and I felt lightening them up was a good thing, and saturating those blues really helped balance out the yellows and the oranges that all of a sudden became a much nicer balance between the two. I also wanted to get a little bit of those angles that the buildings were created so that it made the overall mandala have a bit of depth to it. I could spend hours and hours and hours refining and picking through all these little details, but a lot of the finalization work can yield very little results in the overall process. Remember, we did start with a number of crappy images that I took during the beginning of the week. And I think in the end, I really enjoy the process of coming up with something interesting, seeing what you can work together and see the juxtaposition of the pieces. I really like the way the details and the architectural details and the really small buildings with the really big graffiti in the end really came out really nice. Hit that like button down below, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. I do inspiration and find inspiration on Mondays and shoot a number of images, and then on Wednesdays I take those images and I create some type of mandala or some type of artwork based on compositing and color correcting and tweaking those images on Wednesday. And then on Fridays, I take what I created on Wednesday and I enhance it and refine it to a certain degree to get to this final result. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And remember to inspire, create, and enhance every day. See you next year.